This is now we're getting into the assembly of the wall panel that's in there. A couple of key things to note that where we're showing item number 2 here, that's a weldment. So we've welded that whole thing together for you, and these horizontal graphic holders are already in place out of the box. So when you pull it out of the box, those will already be in place. What we have to do is join the left and the right weldment together, and we're going to do that by using item number 1, the L brackets, and then item number 4, which are going to be the horizontal graphic holders as well. So what you do in the assembly is, again, you get the set screws in place, get them into the extrusion, orientate the top and the bottom of the fixture. You can do that by noting there are through holes here and here. This indicates the bottom of the wall, because the through hole is farther away from the ground than it is here. That's important because we're later going to come back and attach some other fixtures to this. You have a narrow wall and a wide wall. What we're showing here is the narrow wall section, and what that means is the distance between these verticals is narrower than the other, and that's very important to note, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. When you're done, it'll look like this. It's best done on the floor, and we have a video for you of this kind of in action. Here we're showing in 6B how all of that goes together. We had 2 people working on this, so one would work on the bottom section, and then one would work on the top section. Again, laying flat on the floor is best. Note here, wider wall sections to the right, and this is if you are facing the back of the patio display. So your wider wall sections are going to be to the right. The holes for the through holes for mounting the other fixtures will be farther from the floor. So this is actually where the floor is. We want to join those together. There's 8 screws for top, 8 screws for bottom. We've provided flat plates with pre-drilled holes in that. In these extrusions are screw bosses in the corners that line up with those holes. Just use flathead self-tapping screws and get those in place. And so that creates these 2 sections as just one big assembly. Here's a picture of how that is done. Here's a pro tip for you. After doing a few of these, make sure that the bottom of the wall is facing the patio door. So in this photograph here, they're standing at the top, or one sitting, one standing. They're at the top of the wall, so the bottom is here. So that's important, because what we were finding is that we have wall graphics that are going to go in here. It's way, way, way easier to apply those when it's on the floor than it is once it's attached to the patio door fixture. It's just a ton easier on you. So we've got a little video of some stuff happening here.
Hey Neil, how are the guys going to be able to orientate the bottom and the top from on the frame when they put it on the ground like that when they pick it up?
Well, if you remember from, let me see if I can skip up some slides. You take note of these through holes that are in these frames right here. If you can see my pointer, the distance from the bottom to this first hole is greater than the top to this hole. So that's how we know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So great question. Very important to note that you don't want to get this thing upside down, because some fixtures that we're going to attach to it later, it just won't work. You'll have to tear the whole thing apart or flip it upside down. So apply the graphics while they're on the floor. You can see how they're doing that here. Okay. Okay, so once we have that section together, we're going to work towards mounting that wall section to this patio door display. And the way that we do that is we have some brackets that are connector brackets. There's 4 holes on one end and 4 wider holes, and they're going to attach to the top of these extrusions. And then this is just going to use, these are just attachment brackets to hold the 2 units together. We weren't using these ones down at the bottom. One, they're not needed, and so they're available if you want to use them. Go, feel free. But again, we've got plenty of support happening throughout the fixtures, and we're locking it in top and bottom. So I think we're good there. Here we're showing you those screw bosses and how that works, so look for those. These brackets that go on the top and on the bottom are angled, so just before you, as you're assembling, kind of just common knowledge, just get things laid out before getting too far ahead, and that'll just save you a lot of time from having to tear things apart and reposition and all that. A couple of things to note too, having a tool belt helps out, so we're not tracking all the way around. You'll see in a video that I didn't have a tool belt, I didn't have the screws I needed, I didn't have the bracket, and it just, all of these things combined throughout the installation eat up time and kind of build a little bit of frustration also. This shows the 2 sections together. Again, we're attaching it top and bottom. Here top, here's the top section. There are no pilot holes in this top rail, so you just use your self-tapping screws to get that pulled in and locked in together. And then you can see the right side as well. Okay, so we in the instructions here we get a little bit ahead of ourselves, because when the door is, or when the fixture is in this state here, is when we really want to insert the patio doors. And the patio doors are existing in the store, so we have to do some dismantling of an existing fixture to get those out. But what we want to do is, once we have the patio doors out and it's in this current state, we want to get the doors in place, because it's just way easier to access the back of them and the nail fins to get them installed properly when it's here, as opposed to having that wall section in place as well.